Hello and welcome back to another episode of Talking with Tanya. And as you can see, if you're a returning viewer or watcher, I'm not in my usual spot, And lately I've also been doing episodes outside on my picnic table. I don't know if you noticed. I also enjoy doing it there. But I also have a little studio space I created in my room. So yeah, I'm not in my usual spot. I'm actually currently house sitting for a friend. But I didn't want that to stop me from posting this week's episode because it's such a milestone for me. It's episode 20, and I'm very grateful that I've made it this far. And I've been doing this for about 6 months now. And honestly, it's been such a creative outlet for me. This podcast feels like a live snapshot of my growth. So if you go back into my first episodes, I feel like you can kind of clearly see a distinct difference of who I was when I first started to who I am now. And this has been a way to share my healing journey in real time with all of you, whoever's watching. So today we're diving into a topic I've been struggling with lately, self-worth. So that's what I really enjoy about having this podcast is, like I said, you're watching my healing journey in real time. So I've been struggling with self-worth issues lately, and I wanted to make this episode on that because it gives me a fresh perspective and be able to give you recent insights I've made about what I'm going through and what I've learned from what I'm going through. So lately I've noticed I've been really hard on myself. Like I said just a few moments ago, I've been doing this for 6 months. So I feel like I'm growing. I was growing a little impatient with where I feel like I should be at in this journey, right? In this podcasting journey. I was just starting to feel like I should have been further along in followers, subscribers, listeners, and all that. But I feel like I've realized that I'm also downplaying my growth and my progress. And I feel like that's so easy to do, right? Because I feel like some of the things that I've been doing, it's kind of hard for most people, right? To put yourself out there, you show your authenticity for the world to judge. So but when I look back and I think how far I've come and grown as the person I've become, I should really be proud of myself because I just feel like I've overcame a lot, and I really love my thought process, right? How how insightful I am and how I don't let struggles or obstacles get in my way, how resilient I am, right? I really appreciate those characteristics of mine. So I shouldn't be downplaying my growth. I feel like I've come a long way and I'm trying to applaud myself. But yeah, like I said, I just been feeling like I should be further ahead, but it's okay. Sometimes I think maybe I'm just not there yet. This is a little bit of big picture thinking, but I kind of want to help people on a large scale. I don't know how big, I guess I don't really care if my name's out there. My goal is just to help people, right? I feel like the way I think, the way I articulate my thoughts, how I explain different perspectives, my goal here is to help people communicate, understand each other. And because look at how chaotic the world is right now. We need healing. We need compassion. We need empathy. We need understanding. And I feel like we're really struggling with that right now. But then again, it's what I'm watching, on my feed, my algorithm. Who knows what the world is really like right now? But I'm this is based on my perspective of what I'm viewing from my social media, my algorithm, my videos, whatever you want to call it, and from the world around me, other people's perspectives, my friends, my close friends and family, what they have to say about what's going on. And I truly believe that if we just learn to communicate, what's crazy? I think listening is such an underrated skill. People don't really take the time to stop, and I'm not talking about hear what they have to say and then you quickly want to jump to your point. No, actually listen to what the other person has to say. Actually try and understand why they think the way they do, because then maybe it'll give you a shift in perspective. And then maybe you can also not even debate. You don't have to debate. You could just communicate in a way to where you can tell them why you think they're wrong. And then maybe you might even shift their perspective, or they can counteract your perspective and then you can come to an agreement. I think most people are inherently good people, you know. I think a lot of us don't want harm. We just want to fight for what's right. And a lot of us think, sometimes a lot of people think what's wrong is what's right. And it's not their fault. So I think we just need to come to an understanding, come at it with compassion. And I don't know. I just feel like communication really is such a beautiful thing to help. And listening, like I said, underrated skill. So that's where I'm going with this podcast, because I feel like, me personally, I feel what other people feel, and I know how to articulate that and put that in words, and I'm not afraid of speaking on what people feel or what I'm feeling. You know, a lot of people are scared of criticism, judgment, and it's also hard. I'm not gonna lie. You have to articulate it in a way to where people don't get defensive. Just in a way to where it makes sense, right? Okay, so sorry, I got a little off track there, but back to where my self-worth issues have been coming in, right? So lately I've been dwelling on past failures and disappointments. I feel like I'm not where I want to be at in life right now. I want to be more independent, right? So I just feel like I've been really hard on myself lately on that aspect. There's just been so much pressure on me lately too with my father. So I feel like he wants me to already have independence, right? And I understand that. I'm 28, you know, and I'm living in his home, so I should be covering a lot more bills and all that, but I'm like starting over. So there's pressure on me. Of course, I understand that. But I think something my parents failed to see is that things take time. It takes time, effort, energy, consistency, and anything does, right? I just feel like their perspective was like fast. Like, I want you to be independent already, you know? And I don't know. So it's been a struggle, especially because I feel like they don't really understand me. English is not their first language, you know. They're Mexican, they speak Spanish, but so I almost feel weird being like, hey, I have a podcast. This is my passion. This is, you know, something that I feel will emotionally fulfill me, and I'm looking for more in life than just working a 9-to-5. So like, that's what worries me. It's like, how do I show them this? Like, how do I explain in depth what it is I'm doing, you know? And maybe I can show them a video one day, but they're like, I don't know how to like, my Spanish is not perfect, so I don't even know how I would explain like in depth and detail about what it is I'm speaking on and what I'm talking about, you know? So that's definitely a struggle of mine, and that's where self-worth issues come into play too, because they don't understand. So I feel unworthy of to them, that and I don't know how to reassure them that this, like, I have faith in this. They don't even know I podcast, I don't think. I've never brought it up to them. I mean, they know that I make videos to post online, but like that's as far as they know. I say it's about psychology and about helping people, and that's as much as they know. So that's something I'm currently struggling with. But I need to find a way to like be able to sit down with them and truly try and make them understand, like, I just need a little bit more time, and I need to explain to them what it is I'm doing, I guess. So, but recently I've also been feeling a little bit of nihilism. So I don't know if you guys know what that means, but it's just a feeling where you just kind of sit down and think to yourself that no matter what I do, it doesn't matter. Like, life there's no purpose in life. It's just like, I have no purpose, you know? Like, even posting myself on here, right? It makes me think, like, am I even helping anybody? Does this even matter? You know? Those feelings were starting to kick in recently, you know, these past few days. And like I said, it's because I feel like I need more visual representation of growth, or like numbers, I guess I could say. It makes me think, like, just because I'm not up there yet, or viral, I guess you could say, that I'm not doing anything to make a difference. But I need to understand that things take time. But the point I'm trying to make is that I know I feel like I can come across as like strong, resilient, trying to push forward through obstacles, and like even the tough times I can get through. But I want to explain that even I can have days where I feel like I said, nothing matters, and like where I'm down, I'm sad, I feel depressed, and it's hard. I'm someone who's a very like half full cup kind of gal, where I'm optimistic, and I feel like I could push through obstacles with a positive attitude. And there was like a couple days ago, I was like feeling very defeated, and even though I was trying to push myself through it, like I felt like it was really hard to push through it. And I have another episode on coping mechanisms, right? So it's important to have hobbies to do to like push yourself through tough times like that. And I went to go play basketball with one of my best friends at the park, and that really helped. I actually won the first game. I was like, I needed a win today. And I don't know why, I was just like hitting them all, like, woo. But back to what I was saying is, yeah, like it was really like that day was really hard. And even though like I played basketball, I felt a little better afterwards, surrounding myself around people who support me. I was feeling really down, and and what I realized is like sometimes you shouldn't push yourself to be productive. Sometimes you need to take a day time to yourself to really nurture yourself, be compassionate towards yourself. I was trying to like talk to myself in a compassionate manner to try and tell myself like it's okay, you're loved, you're smart, you're compassionate, you're trying to make a difference, you care, and stop being so hard on yourself. Like I know I want to help out more with my family, and I want to be there more for them, and I want to be successful, but like that kind of thing takes time, and you need to stop being so hard on yourself. And also like count your wins. I was just trying to come from a place to myself of love and compassion. And I feel like in self-care, I was really trying to focus on self-care. Like there's been days where I've like been feeling really down, and I'm like, I'm gonna take a bath. I really love baths. And like, no, but really focus on like loving yourself. I put rose petals, and I put candles, and I put a little Netflix show, and my favorite part, I put like a little charcuterie board with like what is it called, salami, cheese, and crackers, and a cup of wine. And I'm just like, that really changes your mood, I'm telling you. And I was just like, what the heck, what am I even sad about? You gotta treat yourself. And I'm like, and that's I feel like I came at a place with self-love, right? So it really changes your mood, and like how you're treating yourself and how you're talking to yourself. So I think that's important. But so I kind of have like sorry, I'm getting off track, because I kind of have like a little bit of an outline on how I wanted to address this episode, or how I wanted to go through it, and now I feel like I'm jumping all over the place. Okay, so back to scheduled programming. So now I wanted to bring up like why self-worth matters, right? So self-worth matters because it affects how people treat you. So if you have low self-worth, which I've had before, right? Like, sorry, I don't know why this is funny to me, but because like I've changed so much, it's crazy. Like looking back, like, oh my gosh, she don't love herself. Sorry, that's a quote from a movie. If you get it, you get it. But anyways, so I've had low self-worth, right? And that could look like people pleasing, which I kind of still struggle with, So I think self-worth could be a spectrum, whether you really value yourself or you don't. And also, like, people-pleasing doesn't have to be a completely terrible thing, I think, because, you know why? Because I enjoy making other people feel good. As long as you're listening to yourself, right? How, like, your nervous system is feeling, which may look like nervousness, anxiety, or, like tightness in your chest, or just, like, that's costing you. that's low self-worth. If you're continuing to put yourself in that state of mind and putting others above you, that's low self-worth. And I've been there. It was a struggle. You get taken for granted, and people start expecting things out of you, and you're just like, there's been times where I'm just like, what the heck? Like, do you not realize everything I do for you, and you still ask for more, and you still expect more out of me, and you don't even say a simple thank you? So I remember transitioning from a place of like people pleasing and moving more towards like, I'm gonna stand in my worth, right? I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna disappear. I'm gonna stop doing things for you so you can realize what you're missing, right? So now you can compare how much I bring to the table, because I'm not being appreciated. And that's something I love. So something I learned about myself, side note, is that I truly love feeling the feeling of being appreciated. You know, which is crazy, because like I think that's another aspect of people pleasing, is that a lot of people pleasers love making other people feel loved. There's like a science behind it. You actually get more like oxytocin and serotonin, I think it was, to where like it feels good and you start wanting to do it more. And I'm just like, I like making people feel good. Anyways, but when you have high self-worth, right, you demand respect and equal giving and taking. Things start to shift, right? Now you have what is it called? A balance in your relationships, and it starts to feel good. The problem is, though, for me, is that I've had trouble receiving. So I'm an overgiver. I love to give, but when it comes to receiving, I'm just like, I almost feel bad, because I feel like, oh, is it too troublesome for you to do what it is that you're doing to give to me, right? Is it too troublesome? Is it too out of your way? Am I a burden? And why, I don't know why I think like that when it's so easy for me. Like, you're not a burden. Like, I can, no big deal, right? I almost even like oversell it to make sure that the other person doesn't even have to worry about me, you know, giving to them. And no big deal. You're fine. Stop tripping. You're okay, you know? It's almost like exposure therapy. The more you do something, put yourself in a situation, the more comfortable you start to become, and, you know, you start to adapt. So I'm trying to be more comfortable receiving. Yeah. Even now, just thinking about it, I'm just like, oh. So, but yeah, I need to be more comfortable receiving. Anyways, moving on. So self-worth and self-esteem are not the same thing. So self-worth is equal to intrinsic value. So what you think who you are as a person deserves, right? Like, and that could be a tricky thing, because like, how do you know for sure what you deserve? It's and you make that definition based off your like life experiences and perspectives, and because, you know, you meet entitled people where they think they deserve it all and they barely bring anything to the table. And then you meet people like me where I'm just like I don't deserve anything. I don't think like that anymore, but I used to, you know. And so, like, who you are, right? And what you bring to the table, and what do you think your value is based off that. So it's all inside, inward, intrinsic value. Versus self-esteem is confidence in abilities, right? Your self-esteem is like, because I can have like high self-esteem when it comes to like, oh, I can easily do this job, right? Or I can make this happen. I can solve this problem. No worries, you know? And like, I have the confidence in my ability to do this, whatever it may be. And so those where the two are different. Self-worth isn't dependent on achievements, other opinions, or external validation. So, like, for example, little baby, they don't do anything, they've never achieved anything, yet they're loved just for being a baby, for being part of the family, you know who they are. Your worth shouldn't rise or fall with achievements or success or where you're at life. Someone shouldn't be less worthy just because, you know, they're not an expert in something, or they don't have this crazy job. Like, that's where I think everybody is equal. Well, it depends on like your moral values. Like, don't hurt others. But like in, a general sense, the average person, we're all equal. And if you tie your self-worth on like things like achievements, you're never gonna feel worthy. There's always gonna be more to accomplish. It never stops. And through other people's opinions, like, everybody has their own life experience, their own values, their own perspectives. And if they don't really truly understand you, which I feel like a lot of people don't really take the time to truly understand you, and you value their opinion, like, you shouldn't depend on their opinion to feel worthy. It's like me with my parents. I feel like I can bring value on my podcast, and I can bring value in other areas of life, but sometimes I don't meet their expectations, and I feel less worthy because I don't have their approval. But like, they don't completely understand me, And even if they did, which I feel like they would love what I'm doing and what I'm putting out there, but once they took the time to truly understand. But okay, so the point of the story is just like, you decide how worthy you are. And psychologically speaking, people who have unconditional self-worth tend to be happy, have better mental health, have better relationships, versus the people who tie their self-worth on achievements and progress and success tend to have more anxiety and mental health issues. And this is why I think self-worth shouldn't be dependent on achievements, other people's opinions, or external validation. Some of the ways that I feel like my self-worth has been challenged is like through relationships. I like work so hard, I feel like, to be loved. And I guess in my last relationship, like, I really tried to be the best person I can be. But I think eventually I got to the point where I started to see myself like worthy of like deserving more, because I feel like I didn't really think I deserved more. And when I finally realized that, and I started asking for more, I'm like, I didn't even think I could ask. Like, now that I know I can ask for more, I'm like, wow, that changes everything. Like, why didn't I think I couldn't before? I don't know, it's crazy. But yeah, in relationships, I've struggled with overgiving and trying my hardest, trying to understand the other person and trying to push them to become the better version of themselves. So I feel like I started to slowly come to an understanding that I bring a lot to the table and I deserve better. And if you don't know like what low self-worth may look like, here are some signs of low self-worth. It can be people pleasing and having a really hard time saying no to people. Which I have a hard time. Sometimes you just like really don't want to do something and you're just like, fine, I'll do it. I've had a hard time, especially for the people I care about. I feel like I have such a full plate sometimes, and I'll still say yes to things that I didn't really want to do. But I don't know, I see myself as capable of doing things, so I'm just like, why not? And I also see myself as like really strong and resilient with like a positive attitude. So I try to help people in that sense of like, if I'm gonna do this for you, you're gonna learn something from it out of me. Yeah, so I try to do that now because I feel like I have value to give. Another way you can see a sign of low self-worth is overthinking mistakes or feeling like you're not enough. So I feel like there's been times where I've been really hard on myself. Like, I'll be a really hard worker at like jobs and stuff, but I make a little tiny mistake and I'm like, oh, that hurts. Oh my goodness, it really gets to me sometimes. And I just like, there's been times in the past where I like will sit on it the rest of the day and I'm like, I can't believe I made this mistake. I should know better. And it's like, I'm just really hard on myself. And, and I feel like other people have forgot about what the mistake was, So, yeah, try not to beat yourself up so much over the smallest things, So one thing I also want to bring up is comparing yourself to other people, because we all do it. I still even do it. And we all walk different lives of path. We all have our own journeys, you know, and we all start the rat race at different, you know, we don't have the same starting line. So I think it's important to know that we should not compare ourselves to other people. There's a quote. I feel like many people know this. But comparison is the thief of joy. You start to, and you know what's crazy? It's like most of us just compare ourselves to people who are successful, up there, doing better than us. And it's like, why don't you compare yourself to the people who are doing worse than you? Because then you start to feel grateful for what you have. You know, like I am so blessed to have been, like I just started over, but I have like a support system that allowed me to start over. Some people don't have that. Some people start over and have nowhere to go. I have family who loves me. I have friends who love me, who support me, who are encouraging me, who believe in me. And I am so grateful to have that, because I can't imagine starting over without anybody. I feel like I would have been stuck in my situation. So yeah, it's important to be grateful for your blessings and for where you are, and don't compare, because you know, and that's what's crazy. It's like a lot of people are going through things that you don't even know what they're going through. So even if you do compare yourself to the successful person or whatever, like who knows what they're going through, you know? And I know they're going through something. Everybody's going through something. But one helpful tip that's definitely helped me, like drastically, because social media is the easiest place to go to and compare, right? Where everybody's posting that they're living their best lives and doing, you know, great and being successful. But I started to realize, like, I don't talk to a lot of the people that I was friends with or that I was following. So then I started to ask, like, what is the purpose of this? Why does it make sense to keep in touch with people or like not even keep in touch, just like keep track of people's lives who you have no association with, who doesn't ask how you're doing, who care about you, who check in on you. So why am I putting focus on their lives? That just doesn't make sense to me. And I always struggled with posting my own life. It always felt inauthentic, I guess you could say. Well, not really, because I would post like what I've done, but you would only post the good. Why would you post the bad? Why would you post that you're doing bad? Like, hey, just got out of a long relationship. Hey, moved back in my parents' house. Jeez. Like, hey, just lost my car. So it's like you only post the good, you know? And so what I did, right, a tip, hopefully a lot of people follow this, I did was I unfollowed everybody I don't talk to. I unfriended people I don't talk to. You know what, actually for my Instagram, I actually completely deleted it. I saved all the pictures I had there just for our memories, and then I just deleted it. I'm just like, you know what? For those who care to check in on me, will reach out and be like, hey, like, what happened? Or hey, do you have a new account? Can I follow it? You know, like those are the people you need to keep around. So that's what I did. And then what I quickly did was, the first thing I did was started following motivational pages, you know, things on like spirituality, just self-growth, things that really were going to help my mentality grow. And I feel like that was almost like a catalyst that kind of changed the trajectory of my life, because I no longer started to feel like low self-worth from scrolling and seeing other people living their best lives, you know. And, you know, I wish all those people the very best, of course. I have no, like, ill will intent towards anybody. I don't have no, like, beef, I guess you could say, with anybody. I don't hold grudges, you know. I really do wish the best for everybody. And, you know, if anybody ever wants to reconnect, I'm open to it. But now I have boundaries, you know. I do believe people can change, but I don't know. It's difficult, because for some people, I do feel like I don't want to go back, just because, like, I'm not sure if I just want to, like, I guess put the time and effort to find out, you know. Another thing I want to talk about is avoiding challenges out of fear of failure, right? So, and that's something I'm still struggling with, because I've been doing this for 6 months and it's not exactly where I want it to be yet, but I'm still doing it. I'm still going, you know, because I love doing this at the same time. But at the very beginning, I've always feared putting myself out there, because I fear I was going to fail. Because, like, oh, look at her. She tried and that's embarrassing. She gave up. Now we don't know where she's at. probably crying somewhere. But I feel like more of a failure would be like actually pursuing something you want to do and you don't do it because you're scared it's not going to work out. But you know what's crazy is that failure is inevitable. It's a part of the journey. You learn from every failure. You learn from it, from your mistakes. I feel like some of my previous episodes, I'm just like, oh, cringe. And I'm just like, I feel like, I guess you get, in a sense, they failed, right? But I learned from it. Every time I like rewatch my episodes, I'm like, let me pick out what it is I didn't like, right? And change it for the next one. You know, there's definitely been technical difficulties upon technical difficulties that look at me, man. You know, I'm like upset that I didn't have my light, right? It gives me a light. This is why I had to like point it towards the window, or the camera has to be in front of the window. And I also don't have my mic on me today. So I'm hoping like this comes across clear, you know? And so I'm just like, this is something I should have already learned. But this was like unprecedented, you know? It was just like out of the blue, kind of helping last minute. Anyways, so yes. So if you're afraid to fail, everybody else who succeeded was too. And they pushed through anyways. You know, so what are the causes of low self-worth? Because, you know, you meet entitled people sometimes who are just like, sometimes I wish I had a little bit of what you have, you know, to just not care what people think and just demand more. And sometimes those people have it like way more than what you have. You know, have you ever like been like, because me, I'm such a hard worker. And like I've heard stories of other really hard workers where like they have all these responsibilities given to them because you know that people know that they're capable, but then there's someone at your level getting paid the same and just like, nah, doesn't really care, and I'm just thinks they deserve more pay and does the bare minimum, and I'm just like, what? Why are you the way you are? But so what causes low self-worth? Like, why am I the way I am? It could be through childhood experiences, right? Criticism, neglect, high expectations. You know, parents are really hard on me. And like I said, like they already expect me to be independent, standing on my own 2 feet already. And I'm just like these things take time, right? Especially when you're pursuing something big. Like you have to build the skill, the mindset. You got to keep pushing through, be consistent. And I don't know if they don't really like understand that. So, like anything takes time. And if I know they've always wanted me to be successful in a career path, but like they never pushed school. So how the heck do you expect me to be some, you know, big time, top-notch person? So they didn't really cultivate a path for me, or like the mentality for me to pursue something long-term, to be able to, you know, bear the fruit of my efforts. Because I feel like they just think, you just be a hard worker and you'll be there. Like, no, I don't know. It's just when you're young, right? And this is why like childhood experiences tie into this. When you're young, you're very impressionable. This is how you start to build your mentality, your perspective, your sense of self-worth, right? And when you're constantly being told like you're worthless, you're lazy, you're this and that, like you start to believe it. Those become your beliefs. And now you feel like in order to counteract that has to be at such high expectations. This is the only way I won't be seen as those things. What can also tie into that is when you do achieve very high achievements and you don't get praised for them, or, you know, you start to believe like, I need to do more. And because then finally I'll get my parents' approval, or finally I'll get their recognition, their acknowledgement, their praise. And it's a struggle. It was a struggle for me because like I've always known myself to be artistic and stand out in a different way from the crowd that never got the praise. So I took me a long time to realize like who I am as a person is worthy enough, and as it's in and of itself. So I don't I don't need their approval to be worthy. Another cause of low self-worth could be life transitions or recent struggles, job changes, relationship shifts, for me. So I'm not really like jumping into the dating pool just yet. I'm really just trying to focus on my independence and, standing on my own 2 feet. But like the thought has occurred to me, like if I were to put myself out there again, like what do I bring to the table? I just feel like I don't know why I feel like I'm not worthy enough to be somebody's yet. I just feel like, man, this is hard. I'm talking about myself here, but because I'm living at home, working at a coffee shop, and so it's like I feel like I don't bring much to the table. And I was really struggling with that thought. I was like, man, like, so the person that I want, right, my ideal like person to be my next partner, like would I be worthy enough for them? Because I don't feel like I'm not at the standard to where I set my standard to be for the other person. So that's something I've been struggling with as well. Okay, now moving on. Let's move on to strategies to help build self-worth, right? Let's try to solve this problem, because we don't want low self-worth. We need to fix this, right? I know I need it too. So these are some insights that I've made, right, about myself, is that I needed to stop assuming what other people think about me. So one aspect of people pleasing is that you kind of learned through childhood to attune yourself to other people's needs through body language, tone of voice, their behavioral patterns. So you really started to learn how to serve other people as a people pleaser. And some of that is like anticipating other people's needs before they even know what it is. So I think I became really good at being able to tell what other people think or need, and trying to, at the best of my ability, fulfill that. And the problem is with that is that sometimes I can be wrong. I can be too hard on myself, thinking that this person may think I'm not enough. I'm not doing enough. I said something that could have bothered them, and now I need to fix it. And that's a burden to carry on yourself. It became a heavy weight, because even when you feel sure, right, that you feel like this person is feeling this type of way, it's not your responsibility to assume what people feel about you and then adjust yourself to make them feel comfortable. That is not your responsibility. It is the other person's responsibility to communicate to you if something you do bothers them, or if you cross one of their boundary. How are you supposed to know? We're not mind readers, and maybe people pleasers are a little bit to an extent, but it's still not our burden to carry. It becomes like overwhelming. You become an overgiver, and I'm not about that life anymore. At least I'm not trying to be. I think it's also a fairly easy habit to fall into without noticing that you're doing it sometimes, especially if you grew up doing it, with your parents, because they were like explosive with their reactions, and you just wanted to do the best you can to try and avoid that. So you had to learn to read your parents or your family members' energy to survive in that environment. And that's something you carry over into adulthood. So that's something that I'm definitely still working on. And, it sucks because, like, when you tie your worth into other people's, like, how they feel about you, their expectations, it's definitely a struggle, to overcome. Especially when you care about the person, you want to be seen, like, good in their eyes, but it's not your authentic self. You shouldn't be overgiving, changing, adjusting yourself to make them feel comfortable, because then that means they don't really truly love you, because they're not seeing you for who you are. So that's why this is a difficult path to take, because as a recovering people pleaser, because you start to lose some of your relationships, when you start to fall into your own and stand in your own autonomy and realize, you're worthy of more, your relationships start to fall apart. And you start to step into the unknown of like being by yourself, independent, having to like make new connections. Is it gonna work out? Another strategy you can implement to build your self-worth is have people in your life, right? When you do build connections, or sometimes when you stop people pleasing, you explain yourself like, hey, this is how I'm feeling, and other people actually understand. Such a validating, fulfilling feeling. But when you have other people understand and start to like change their perspective and realize, oh my gosh, like you are overgiving, I'm sorry you feel this way, and then they'll like reinforce your worth, like you are worthy of love. Have those type of people around. That'll really help. So I have a couple of people like that in my life, and I can't tell you how much it's like helped me, right? Like one of my best friends is always telling me like build your self-worth. He's like, you're worthy. And then just like you stop being so hard on yourself. Like you deserve things, And it's like sometimes I need that little slap in the face, to kind of remind me like, oh my gosh, you're right. Like, what was I thinking? Sometimes I'll open up to my friends or family about it, and it helps reaffirm to me that I am being too hard on myself. So that helps. Another strategy is self-reflection. So I like to like meditation, journaling. For me, it's my walking. Like I've had so many breakthroughs just like going for a walk every morning. Like sometimes I've had like bursts of clarity, and I'm thinking like, wow, how did I not see this before? This is crazy. Because sometimes emotions can really override, This is why we please, because we want those emotions of feeling good, So sometimes it's hard to see through the illusions, cut through the emotions, and think logically. And I feel like walking for me has really helped me see through some of my illusions. So I definitely recommend self-reflection, through journaling, affirmations, meditating, just anything to kind of help you just sit with your thoughts and try to like analyze them, articulate them, feel your feelings, and try to question like, why are you feeling this way? I don't know. It's definitely helped me. Okay, next thing you want to do is set healthy boundaries. Prioritize your needs without guilt. Oh, that's a hard one, because sometimes I'd feel really guilty for like saying no and putting myself first, because it's so easy not to put yourself first as a people pleaser. You want to like put other people before you, but it starts to get draining. It'll be taxing on you, I started to realize that I needed better boundaries when my health was starting to be affected. Like with my heavy anxiety, I would let things slide. I would let things slide with certain people just because like I didn't want to cause any like discomfort or conflict or anything, and ended up costing me, causing anxiety, putting me in a position to where I'm not comfortable. And why am I doing that to myself? That is self-abandonment. You need to set healthier boundaries to be a healthier, happier person and be more emotionally fulfilled, because then you'll start to attract people who respect your boundaries, and you start to realize like, it's easy being this person's friend. It's easy being in a relationship with this person, because I'm not self-abandoning myself to be in it. So that's definitely important as well. Next thing you should do, and something I've been trying to practice more, is to celebrate your small wins. Acknowledge your progress daily. Sometimes I fail to do that. I don't do it daily like I need to, but yeah. So small wins for me, let me share. I've made 100, I've had 100 streams and downloads on my Spotify. I've made 34 subscribers on YouTube. So slowly but surely, I'm getting up there. They're small wins, but I need to acknowledge them. I'm making growth. That's the important part. You keep going, you're gonna keep growing. So, and limit your comparison to others. I brought this up before already, but focus on yourself. Don't think about what anybody else is doing. Focus on yourself. How can you be a better version of you? And finally, seek support when you need it. Your friends, therapy, community. I think relationships with people are very important, right? For your mental health, for self-growth, reflection, just anything. And when you need help, when you're, going through a tough time, it's just like, it's important to have people you can rely on, talk to. And I feel like we're kind of in a period of time where people are lacking friendships, where we're struggling to connect with people, right? There's more single people, there's more lonely people, there's less friendships being made. And that's what I'm trying to help change, right? I think we need to stop being afraid of being ourselves. And the more we do that, the more we're going to find people who accept who we are as people. So you find people you have in common with, but how you do that? By being yourself. How are you going to find other people who are like you if you're too afraid of being yourself, right? So I'm really excited to hopefully meet people who are into like podcasting, self-growth, health and wellness, holistic medicine, naturopathy, just like astrology, that's why I'm trying so hard to really put my authentic self on here, because I want to attract the people who are going to resonate with me on a deeper level and hopefully make friendships through it. Some of the benefits of healthy self-worth, right? So once you start really prioritizing and respecting yourself, then what's going to come of it, right? You're going to have better relationships, less people pleasing. I've said this before, right? It's going to feel easy to be around people. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you, there's such a big comparison between the relationships that felt very draining for me and having to put so much work, energy to try and understand them, to try and communicate with them, to try and be there for them, but not necessarily getting that in return, versus the relationships that are an equal give and take, that actually care to communicate with me, to learn and try to understand me, and to be considerate of me. Because there's just so many times where I feel like I've encountered inconsiderate people, right? But when you're finally being considered, I don't want anything else now. I'm just like, these are the kind of relationships I'm going to continue to allow into my life, right? So now that you have boundaries, like, the other side is beautiful. I'm trying to tell you. It can be a struggle though, because the transition from a place of inauthentic relationships to authentic can be very lonely. There's definitely been periods of times where I'm just like, I just want to fill that void of being alone, of being lonely, and go backwards to the people who I pleased and I overgave to. So it's things that I've learned in this transition is that you have to have faith, you have to have patience, and you have to have strength during this time. These are key things that you have to have, because people are afraid of the unknown, and they just want to know that they're going to be okay. So that's why it's important just to believe that it will be, and it will, So I feel like I'm a living testimony to that, and I think it's only going to get better from here. So because I have faith, and strength, the inner strength, the resilience that keep pushing forward, and to have patience that it will come eventually. So other benefits include increased resilience and confidence now, because you're setting boundaries. So now you know what you deserve, and you're not afraid to ask for it, right? And improved mental and emotional well-being. So now you're not going to be you're not going to be allowing yourself to be taken for granted. So, and you're not going to be drained by relationships that you're overgiving to anymore. So I feel like I'm talking to a specific audience. If you're really up there entitled, I just don't see it. Maybe you can relate to this. I don't see how you can have low self-worth if you're feeling like you deserve the world, which good for you. Another benefit would be the ability to pursue goals without fear of judgment or failure, right? Because you're not tying your worth to, the statistics or the analytics of how many people are watching or whatever. You're just for me, I'm doing this for fun, and I'm doing this because I want to help people. So I feel and it's imagine if I didn't. I would like to think that I've already helped some people. I don't know for sure, because no one's really reached out to me, But I want to have the belief that I have. Like my best friend's telling me like, no, people will resonate with what you say and they will feel less alone. And I'm like, I hope so, because that's why I'm doing it. And can you imagine if I didn't have the low? I mean, can you imagine if I didn't have the self-worth to feel like I can do this? If I was scared of like rejection and judgment and failure? So you can see that now you can see low self-worth as an obstacle that gets in the way of success, of like what's possible. And that's just how I see it now. I'm just like, I'm not gonna let my own thoughts stop me from what I want. My own value, how I value myself. Like, so I hope what I'm sharing now is gonna help, because this is like what I've learned and it's what's helped me. So I hope it'll help whoever's watching. Thanks again. This is, I'm coming into the end of the episode. I hope I shared a lot of important information. I hope I am helping people, anybody out there. If you ever want to reach out, if you have tips, if you enjoyed what I said, if you have an idea for my next video, something you think that a topic that you may think that needs to be spoken on, because I feel like I have a natural gift to be able to communicate what other people are feeling, but are too afraid to speak up and say, and I feel like I articulate it in a way which is easy to understand and make sense, and to be able to change people's perspectives. So that's why I do this. And so if you have any ideas, any comments, any questions, feel free to reach out, my Instagram DMs, my email. I'd be happy to hear from somebody. I've yet to hear from anybody. But that's okay. So as long I just gotta believe, I have to have faith, and I have to have patience. I also think like I'm not where I want to be yet, because I'm not ready for it. I feel like I still have more growth, right? So like I said, this is almost like self-growth vehicle, my podcast, because it's like pushing me to grow within myself, because I've come a long way. Like I said, I'm not the same person I used to be, and this has been a tool to help push myself. That real quick, this is something I also wanted to share that I learned recently, is that there's I guess you could say a science behind making videos of yourself. Because when I first hit record, whether it was a TikTok, a reel, YouTube video, I think it was a TikTok, right? When I first started posting TikToks, this was years ago. When I hit record, I felt so awkward and shy and embarrassed in front of the camera. And like I jumbled my words a lot more, and I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, this is embarrassing. I didn't even post it yet. I was like, oh my gosh, like chill. But I told myself, just keep doing it. Just when you put when you have the mindset that you don't have to post it, like it makes it easier on yourself. Like, just make a stupid video and don't post it. And then slowly I started to make more and more videos of myself, just like being goofy or speaking on something. And I'm just like, slowly I started to see videos and I'm just like, wow, like this is actually a good video. I'm gonna post this one. And oh my gosh, the first one was like, oh, they're gonna judge me. But you got to push through that fear. The more you do it, right, the more you do anything, you start to become less fearful of it. You start to think, hey, this is not that bad. I used to tell myself, like, think every worst case scenario judgment that people are going to say about you, right? Okay, and now they're all thinking it once you post it. They all said it. They all told their friends they don't like you. You're embarrassing. Oh my goodness, right? And I'm just thinking, they all said this. Okay, but I'm okay. Like, nothing happened to me. Post again. Be cringe again. Oh my gosh, I'm ridiculous. But yeah, like you're alive. You didn't die, right? So that's definitely what helped me. And then now you can clearly see that I'm more comfortable in front of the camera. I still stutter here and there, but I don't even care anymore, If anything, I'm also trying to show more of like my mistakes, to kind of show people like it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to like, be cringe on camera. It's okay to, just be yourself. because you want to attract the people who accept you for who you are. So if you learned anything from this, if you have any insights, ideas, or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for talking with Tanya. I appreciate anybody who continues to watch me. Any new viewers, appreciate you too. So thank you for listening. Take care of yourself. Peace out.